Hello, my name's Wendy.
Hello. And I'm Louise. Welcome.
Welcome back. We did do a video before, but my computer swallowed it. So this is a retake on it. So I was just talking to Louise about her books. And what they are all about. So I'm going to get her to talk about it all over again. So if you're interested in it, we'll put a link into her books. Carry on.
So, yes, the first book was really to be able to publish a second book without all of the mind games that goes with it. So 10 Little Lessons was just a book on little tips on how to keep yourself present, really. Just little tips that I've picked up along the way. The Awakening was kind of a cathartic book of all of the baggage that I'd picked up, all of the programs that were given to me and how they were impacting me and what I had to overcome. And some of them were quite big things to try and overcome. Um, and then obviously the next book will be about being able to see how the lessons from that first book and how I had identified them and started that process and going deeper. So, because there's layers to our traumas, to our life events, there's layers to them. So we get rid of that first layer and we're like, yes, we've done it. And then we find those old behaviors creeping back in, and you're like, what happened? What happened? And it's because you haven't actually broken the program yet.
You
So,
haven't peeled a whole onion.
no, you know what? I had, because obviously I'm still off with the broken leg, and my boss phoned me up, and I was like, I needed this time, um, because staff had been triggering me, and my normal or programmed response was victim. I'm the victim. They're the perpetrator. That's not how it is. Even though that's how I felt it was at that given minute, having that ability to step back shows me I've fallen into it again. Okay, so I need to go back in and figure out what I'm doing wrong that is preventing me from not engaging with toxic behavior because it's not
Just let it come.
intentional. Yeah, just swipes you off. And then you're like in this chaos and you again, you're like, "Well, how did I get back here? How? How? I am working so hard to not be here. I'm here again." So just remember it's cyclical, and that is such an important thing. And I wish I'd have been told this 20 years ago, because 20 years ago, that would have made a huge difference to
100%.
understand that
Yeah,
the process is cyclical. You will keep repeating it until there's nothing left for it to be raised.
until you've broken that cycle.
And that is the only way. So that cyclical process, you've got to be grateful for it because your learning hasn't finished. You haven't graduated until whatever it is that is your trigger no longer triggers you because then you've healed.
Yeah,
And
but we both know it's so much more deeper than that. But
oh God.
I had an epiphany the other day.
Oh,
'Cause through my stages of my journey, things you look like you're on an even keel, and then something comes along, and then you get all that sorted, and then you go on you, and then it comes along again, and it's exactly the same every single time for all of us. It might be completely different, but every single time it's the same because we're always handling the
it's
same
like Joe
thing
Dispenza.
exactly the same way
It's like Joe Dispenza says, you'll repeat the same process, but at the
until you
haircut,
get it.
the haircut will be different, right? The face will be different. But the actual experience is the same. How you get there might be different, but the same experience is the same.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was my epiphany the other day because it came up and it was exactly the same as what it's been for, and because obviously doing our journeys, you notice it. And I've got a client at the moment who I'm working with, and we didn't have I didn't do a session with her, but I had a chat with her, and I said, "You're triggering yourself, and it's doing exactly the same every time because you're not accepting what's coming in." And I said, as soon as you realise what's coming in, it's such a massive, big wake up call. And you're like, oh my God, but it comes from way deeper than that. But that's another story
So
for another time
how did
because
you deal with it? What did you do to help you, one, see it, and then to process it?
I just surrendered to it. I just said, okay, I'm not fighting it. I'm not fighting it anymore.
So going to that, you know, when you first started this journey and that surrender is really hard, how did you learn to surrender?
How did I learn to surrender? I just sit there and I just like, it's hard. It's different for everybody though, isn't it?
Yeah.
My
Yeah, but
surrender
I think because everybody
is
does it different and you know, I can remember
an
people would be like,
acceptance.
oh, just be gentle on yourself. Just be gentle. There was a phase, especially like 4 years ago, everybody in this realm was, oh, be gentle on yourself, which is really easy to say. But if you don't know how to be gentle on yourself because your own mind is toxic to yourself, you might be wonderful to other people and understanding and sympathetic and empathetic, but you don't give yourself those same qualities. And you're so toxic to yourself. So
Yeah,
being told to be gentle to yourself when it is not in your
it's
programming
not
to
that
do,
easy.
it's
Yeah,
hard to do.
yeah.
Um, Meditation. I meditated. I used the binaural waves to be able to distract the mind and just breathe in love and breathe out love. And it needs to be
Unconditional.
forgiving. Yeah, forgiving. Forgive yourself. You know, we we have people who come into our lives and we think that whether or not we're in Florence Nightingale and we want to help them and aid them in their process, but they can be very toxic. And then you end up in this same cycle. So you have to be able to forgive yourself for allowing those people to treat you the way that they did. And yes, it's all good and well people saying people only treat you the way that you allow them, but if you can't see your own worth, even though you don't want somebody to treat you in a negative manner, you
It's
don't
true.
know how to prevent that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
so
the
true.
only way I found to be able to overcome the negative of people was one, pull back. When you pull back, whether it's from family, from friends, from colleagues, whomever it is, who you pull back. It's not that you're saying I can't deal with it. It's saying I need this space for me,
To process what I want to say.
right? And taking a step back from the crazy world that we are currently in is okay, right? It's okay. And on that tip, turn off the media. Turn it
I've
off.
not watched news or anything for years and years and years. Haven't watched it. My mum says something to me. I go, well, how do you know that? She said it's on the news. I said, but the news is rubbish. The news is the biggest paradigm in this world.
Of course it is. It was the whole TV segment was caused they so when you're watching a TV, it has a flicker rate. And the flicker rate is set so that it bypasses your conscious mind. It is able to go straight into your subconscious. Why do you think you watch these adverts and all of a sudden, even though it's 10 o'clock at night, that certain food advert comes on and you're like, oh, blimey, I'm hungry. Oh, I fancy something like that. And you'll get up and you'll start raiding the cupboard, even though you're not really hungry.
No, no, it's true, isn't it? But
And
I don't think I've no, I don't think I've ever really watched the news.
no,
Never.
I've no, I mean, I turned TV off in 2010. I turned TV off. My daughter could watch playback on her DVD for the programs that she wanted to watch. Other than that, DVDs, yes. I'll tell you something, because she was what, 15? Within 2 weeks, that I want, can I have left?
Stop.
It didn't, no more, because that constant feed of I want this label, I want this, I need this. This is it. I all of my friends, it's so much pressure on you as a parent, and you're
Yeah.
already going through so many pressures. I couldn't believe how much hold that had over my household until it was gone and it
You don't
stopped.
realise it, do you?
And even when we would go in shops or go shopping, I wouldn't hear, can I have? I need. This is, oh, she wouldn't have that because it wasn't
Yeah.
already been subliminally put into her head to need.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of parents, you need to take your children out of the television, put them in nature.
Nature, Mother Gaia is the way to go. People just don't realise it. Her blue energy is amazing.
Well, we frequent, so you've got the Schumann resonance, which is the planet's frequency, which is 7.83 hertz, is actually the same hertz as what our brains give out. So we
Yeah.
are directly connected to this planet. But by us being in that constant state of beta, of stress and anxiety, it keeps us from being able to connect. So you pulling yourself and putting you out into the countryside, just switching off, just switching
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I had to go and see the consultant the other day, and he was like, in 2 weeks' time, you need to take the boot off and not use I don't want you to become dependent on the boot. And I went, I cannot. I says, I climbed Ben Nevis a few months ago, and about 7 months ago, we climbed Snowdon. I said, I have to get out every weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, we get out into nature. I'm blessed that we've got the Roaches just a 45 minutes away, and it is so beautiful. I it is I love where I live. I am surrounded by the Peak District. It's on my doorstep, and we go climbing. And
Well,
me
at
other
the
half,
moment, you go hobbling.
well, yes. Did you see the last video? Hobble, hobble, and all you can hear is Alex going, "Here she comes," as I waddle up. But I will waddle to the end of the moon. I will not give up my time in nature.
I love walking. Walking's just good.
I
I mean,
hobbled up to
I've
the
got a,
hospital the other day when I had my appointment. There's me hobbling up the road. I love it.
I mean, from where I live, I like to go to B&Q, which is from my house. It's like 3.5, 4 miles away. And people go, why don't you get the bus? I said, because I beat the bus.
Yeah,
And I get the bus for free.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they go, but why don't you wait? I said, well, why would I want to wait? I said, the sun's out, the birds are singing, and I'm in my own little world. Off you go.
Yeah,
And by the time I got home, I'd done about 16,000 steps.
I love it. I love walking. I love exercise. I can't wait. I'm actually looking forward to rehab,
Yeah.
right? I'm actually looking forward to being able to get into the gym and start battering this poor little body back into shape.
Yeah, but it's done you good to chill out. That's why it's done it, because you've got on with your book.
Oh God, yeah. And I've also done a lymphatic massage course, and I've also done a um naturopathic naturopathic course. So all things that I want to kind of incorporate further down the road, but it's all
Business.
I learn everything for myself. When I became a gym instructor and a personal trainer, it wasn't because it was the business I wanted to go in. It was because I'd had a car accident and my whole of my left hand side of my body had whiplash. Couldn't do nothing. I couldn't stand for any more than an hour and a half. So, kill or cure, right? I became a gym instructor. I've never had so much pain in all my life. But it then meant that after, I mean, the 2009 collapsed my business overnight. So, and then I was like, okay, well, that just means I'm obviously fit enough now. So, need to go back into nursing. Um, Went in, finished that off, was still obviously doing this whole mindful learning, and people were coming into my life where I would be able to use it. Now, I suppose the a really good example was that god awful app, Plenty of Fish. I deleted it off my phone. I used it because I'd not long moved to London, and I was thinking, oh, it'd be good to meet new people. No, the the caliber of human beings on that site is, well, I
Yeah.
deleted. I deleted it. So, and then this day, I kept having the app symbol come up in my head, and I'm like, no. And as the day went on, it was getting more and more frequent, more and more frequent. And I am literally arguing, firstly internally, but then it became outwardly. I was like, I do not want to put that app on my phone. Well, by 7 hours after this had started, it was literally every 5 minutes. It was like, you need to put this on. So in the end, I was like, fine, I will put it on. So I put it on my phone. The second person to speak to me, first thing he said to me is, I'm trying to learn mindfulness. I'm like, you are the reason. You are the reason that this happened. So I'm like, okay, well, I take it you're not going to give me a cock shot. So I'm quite happy to give you my number. So I ended up helping him out. We'd we'd gone to do this meditation because he was an ex-user. He had always been a functioning user, but he still had the jitters and couldn't sit still for the love and the money. And even when he sat still, every part of him still moved. So we went over to this kind of green area in Pimlico. There was a bunch of kids around. There were loads of things going on. And I was like, right, we're going to do a meditation. So we sat down and I brushed my hand down his, and I went, feel that tingle? And he was like, yes. And I went, right, hold it. I want you during the whole of this to just try to move that tingle. I will talk to you, but I want you to focus just on that tingle. I want you to push it around your body, or as far as you can around your body while we do it. Excuse me. So he closes his eyes and I push my energy out and envelop him in it. And he just calms right down. And I'm talking him through this meditation. And we were in it for about 20 minutes. And then I kind of sat up, saw that he was just perfectly still. And I didn't say anything. I just pulled my energy back in towards me. And as soon as my energy left him, his eyes opened. He didn't twitch anymore after that at all. And he didn't even notice it. We were sitting in his lounge and he was all nicely chilled, no movement. And I went, "You haven't even noticed." And he went, "Noticed what?" And I went, "You haven't moved." And the penny dropped. And he became so energetic at that given point. He was just like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" And I'm like, "I didn't do anything.
No.
I didn't do anything." Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me one second. I will call you back, babe.
Calling me back.
Yes, I'm on a
On a
meeting
call with Wendy.
with Wendy.
You know.
All right, so I'll speak to you shortly.
Yeah, catch you.
All right then, darling.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
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 Otherwise, he's just gonna keep calling. So might as well just answer and do. Bless his little heart. So yeah, it's. I think the further down this road you go, the easier it is to help other people. Like when I was doing the coaching, I had a client, and it was only over line, and she was in the process of making herself blind. And she was worried because she was about to get married, and she was, I mean, she'd causing herself all kinds of health issues. It took us about 3 months, but then she was fine.
It's all trapped emotion in your body.
And your thoughts. If your thoughts are, "I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, nobody likes me, nobody loves me," all these negative thoughts, "I'm a failure, I blah blah blah," that negative thought has a resonance. That resonance then goes into your body, which is then triggered the emotions. Emotion. It's the electrical motion within your body that drives you.
Yeah.
So if you're sending all of these negative thoughts into your body, and your body doesn't know what to do with these negatives because they don't sit true, so they can't be processed. So they go into your cells.
Yeah. Because you are not your body and you are not your thoughts.
No.
Because if I get, because obviously I've been on my journey for like 15 years. And this last 5 years, it's got really, really powerful. But still today, you still get that little negative thought come in. I allow it to come. I allow it to come
takes
in.
someone to trigger you.
Yeah. Come in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming along. Now please leave.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
when you say to people, controlling your own thoughts is the easiest thing to do, but it's the biggest fight of your life.
Yeah.
People give up first hurdle.
It's pretty much what I wrote in that first book. No, in The Awakening. No, it's so simple, but it's so hard. It's so hard. And you have got to be 100% dedicated to self. You
100%.
have to be selfish in the truest form. Not externally selfish, internally selfish, where everything that goes on within you is only about you and what benefits you. And if it doesn't benefit you, get rid of it.
how can you be selfish? Right, this is what I say to people. How can you be selfish for putting yourself first because you're the only person that can do it?
Yeah.
Have the same
And not only that,
conversation. Do you have the
everybody
same,
benefits from it.
no, do you have the same conversation with everybody that you meet on this journey? Not like everybody,
Yes.
because me and you've never had it because we know what journey we're on.
Yeah.
But people that don't know the journey, but you have the same conversation, slightly tweaked different to them, but it's the same conversation every single time.
Yeah. Because you got to sow this. And because the Discovery broke down while we were over at Whitby, which is 2 hours away from here. And our guy who drove us back, we were in the car with him for 2 hours. And so I talked to him. I chat to him. He kind of brought up a topic, which kind of was on the American election. And I used that to open up the doors, and I just planted a forest of seeds. I planted for 2 hours. I planted a forest of seeds to just make him stop and look at the system that he's taking on face value. They haven't got our best interests at heart. So this system that we find ourselves in is toxic. So if you don't want to be consumed with illness, negativity, and be broke, then the only way you can change that is by stepping out of the system and stepping into self.
And working on yourself, yeah.
The only way.
It's the only way. But I read something the other day. It's between the ages of 45 and 50 is when people start to wake up because they've been closed off so much. I mean, mine was way before that, but some of us do get woken up
I
before
think
that.
these kids are going to wake up a lot sooner just because of the craziness.
Oh, yeah.
I think the world that these,
But they're the new star seeds.
well, yes, but they've got actually the hardest
And they've got
challenge
a
because
fight on their
they
hands.
really have. And I think us on this journey who are further along, we have to be able to give them the tools and the support that they need to be able to fight their own generation.
Yeah.
Because they've got a generation of psychosis because they have had nothing but indoctrination
Yeah.
into a system that isn't beneficial to them. I'm seeing what these kids are doing to themselves, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking because you know that 10 years down the road, they are going to regret the actions that they've done. But the path that they are triggering and pushing for is a life of hell that they are condemning themselves to. And they don't see it because they're fighting some BS.
Yeah. But it will come to a head. It's
Of
got
course.
to come to a head. I mean, you walk down the street today, right? I don't put no headphones in. I may put them in, and then 5 minutes later they're out because I can't deal with them anymore. But you walk down the street and you see all these mums and dads with their children. They've all got headphones on.
Or they're looking at
And the
their
little
phone.
child is just on the floor, like in the pushchair, doing nothing. When we had our children, we was interacting with them all the time. Same when you see people with their dogs,
Mm.
and they go out to, you know where I live, Christchurch Park.
Mm.
They've all got their headphones on. They're missing all the vibrations of the planet,
And the
all the
birds,
love
listening
from
to
the
the
tree,
birds, right? And the
because they've
rustle
got
of
their
the
headphones
tree.
on.
Yeah.
And it's quite sad, isn't it?
It is, but I think the Hopi prophecy puts it that we've got two paths. One path is just straight, which is the easy choice, right? It's the easy choice, but that easy choice comes to a very abrupt end. The other one is a ladder, is a staircase, right? So each one of these is a challenge that you've got to get up. That's the path we need to be on. The easy one is not the one that not if we want to flourish and actually enjoy our lives and have a
Yeah.
life to enjoy.
And you've got to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, because if you don't push yourself out of your comfort zone by choice, eventually the system will take you out of your comfort zone and you won't have any tools or mechanisms to be able to keep yourself safe internally.
100%. But it's not taught in schools, is it?
No, it's not taught in any elements. I mean, it's been removed from for me to be able to get to where the information I've had to go back. I mean, the earliest where it's helpful is the turn of the 1900s, the New Thought, the Master Key Foundation, with the likes of, oh, I can't think of their names.
What, the Master Key System?
So yeah, the Master Key Society. So you've got Neville Goddard, Hill. What's his name?
Napoleon
Hill.
Hill.
Yes, Napoleon Hill. So yes. So yes, exactly. Exactly. So having them and going back, and even I know this is, and I'm sorry for it's for the ancient history of being able to understand who we are. And to be able to go back to that, you've got to go back to the Sumerians, the
We've got to go
Anunnaki.
back at the beginning of the
Yeah.
creation.
Because that is where we started. And you need to understand their writings to understand they created us, which I know goes against the Bible in some context, but even in Genesis, it says God and others, right? Well, they are the others. And they created this version of human, but we have been like our telomeres have been capped, so we can only live 130 years, but without that cap we would be immortal. But they
Yeah,
didn't want us to be immortal. They didn't want us to be like them, but we had the power to be like them. So they created a society around us that would limit us, and we are in the pinnacle of those limits.
yeah, we are.
And it is a spiritual war. It is a spiritual war. And if we want to be what we are divinely meant to be, means we have to overcome the whole system. But
Yeah,
we can only do that on a personal basis and overcome it from within.
yeah. One person at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got one positive energy, like say for yourself, your one positive energy can outweigh thousands of negatives. So
Oh, God.
me and you, do you know what I mean? And they're slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger because you probably got different communities what you're attached to. And I mean different communities what I'm attached to. So they're slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just don't like it, do they? Because if anything happens, like David Icke, isn't it? When he started doing this, they started saying all dodgy things about him.
Of
But
course.
listen to him
They'll
now.
tell you that you're a conspiracy theorist. They'll tell you that you're a right wing.
They discredit you, yeah.
It's whatever, it's a label. I don't care what you want to label me. You're not the first person to label me. I've been labeled throughout my life for one thing or another. I don't give a damn what other people think of me. I do give a damn about what I think of myself.
That's what I've done. I've done a bit of writing on it about opinions.
Mm,
It's not about other people's opinion about yourself. It's about your own opinion. If somebody can have an opinion of me, really, really crap. But as long as my opinion about myself is for the greatest good of myself and the whole world, then that opinion will never break.
right. And I think people need to understand the opinions that others put onto you are not actually for you.
No, it's about them.
It is completely about them. It's about the programs and the ignorances that they hold to be true. And if they're fighting to hold on to what they believe to be true, then they're going to attack you.
But they're not attacking it. But and also, right, the other
It's
day,
only through projection. It's projection. It's not personal.
so 2 days a week I go out to work. It's not my job. I just go out to work 2 days a week, bus driving, right? My bus was in 15 minutes late. This guy got on, and when he got off, he said, he turned around and he went to me, I blame you for this bus being late. I went, that's your opinion, my darling. And I said, and your opinion to me don't really matter. So please escort yourself off. Got no problems with it. And he was like, you're not going to argue with me? I said, no. Because your energy doesn't match mine, and your energy is not even worth coming near my energy. So off you go, my love. Have a
But he
great
sat there on that bus,
stewing.
irritated by your energy, not because your energy it made him look at himself. Your energy made him look at himself. He then resented you. His ego kicked in, and he had the most torturous bus journey of his life because he made his own life hell.
Yeah. People say to me, because we do get a lot of, when you're driving one of these big vehicles, if it's a lorry, a bus, whatever, you do get so much crap from other drivers, and people try and say, how can you not retaliate? I said, well, that guy who's just called me everything isn't calling me nothing. I said, he could be the nicest person on this planet, but for that small minute, he's just showed everybody around him the people that we don't want to be like. And I said,
And that he has no control over his mind.
yeah, but if he was happy with himself, he would react to anything the way that he's just done. He'd react like me and say, oh, go on in, off you go. Not a problem. See you later, have a good day.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Just go.
But if you have no control over your thoughts, then you have no mental emotional intelligence. If you haven't got mental intelligence, you haven't got emotional intelligence, which means every situation you go into is reactory.
Yeah, yeah. And you just got to learn from the very, very beginning.
And if you're reacting to life, then you're not in the driver's seat. And that means you are going to be pulled from pillar to post, and it's going to be a hell of a journey. You're going to hate most of it. And yes, it is a challenge to learn to control your thoughts and learn to control your emotions. But I will say, from a person who was very different to the one that sits here now, I was an angry, retaliatory person. If you did something to me, I'd come gunning for you. You know, I didn't think twice about aggression. Unfortunately, the aggression that went out was normally aimed at men because men
I could
are
say, because I've never had it.
no, it's mainly it's always
Because
been
I've always been.
yeah. Oh, but I think my true nature is caring and loving. So I give that out, but people see that as a weakness.
Yeah.
And then when she gets put away because she's starting to get hurt and the other little beast comes out, then they want to look at me like they're the victim. Right? So that's how my early years were. And that had a very strong imprint. So to try and break all of that down is hard. And even today, things happen and I laugh about it because I could see how the other part of me would have reacted. Because it's still but I see it in my third eye. I see what I would have done and I
Yeah.
laugh
But now
because
you notice it.
yeah. I'm not
You
biting that.
notice
You're not
it.
taking me to there
You
because
notice it standing in the wing of your play,
Mm,
and you're like, you're not coming on because this is my play.
yeah. Well, I think I'm glad that I've learned this because I think your family, they know what buttons to push. They know how to make you react in the way that they want you to react. And I know that a certain member of family had done something, knowing that the person that I was would have protected my daughter no matter the cost to me. And their actions was to pull that out. Because if they had have achieved that, they would have stopped me from ever being able to be successful in anything. Because they would have triggered the reaction and then had the book thrown at me. But luckily enough, I was aware enough to see that that was actually what was being played.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, this is the outcome. Instead of seeing the short picture, you see the long picture, and when you see the long picture, you can make an educated choice. Now, I don't want that person to have any more control over my life. I
Only
see with other family members their control and the people that they are involved in, they're all separated from each other and miserable. No, you're all right. I can love you all from a distance. If you want to be in my life, then you need to step up because I'm not tolerating that low vibration. So if you can't raise your vibration, I
you can
love
feel
you.
it.
I love you and I wish you every best, but you're not welcome.
Yeah, 100%. You can feel it. You can feel negative vibrations from a mile off, can't you? It's
When
just,
somebody walks in a room, they will pull your attention and you will know immediately whether they are good or bad.
yeah, 100%.
I remember being on holiday and all the kids, it was a nice family resort. Um and you know what it's like. Everybody's kind of watching it over the kids. Even though you're watching yours, you're watching over all of them. So there's always a set of eyes on the children. And this guy walked in, and every single parent called their children back to them. And the kids who were around them, they kind of did a wide berth and went to their parents. And I was watching this. I was like, turned around to my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, "He's a wrong in them." And he went, "What do you mean?" I said, "The reaction he has just got from this room, and the feeling that he makes me feel." I said, "We will not be allowing her to be anywhere near him." And he was like, "No." So he went off and he goes, "I'm going to go and speak to him." Well, go on then. So he goes up to him and he says, "Oh, he's come on holiday ahead of his wife." I went, "That's bullshit. There isn't a woman alive on this planet that will allow their husbands to have more holiday than them." That's not gonna happen. You ain't going there before me. No, we're going together. I said, "So that's a crock of shit." I says he's come to a children's environment for a reason. Because as a middle-aged man coming to a children's resort, I wouldn't be, if I didn't have children, I wouldn't be coming to a children's resort.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah,
So we are very attuned and key to being able to pick up on the bad people in our society. But if we're so consumed with our own thoughts and distractions that are provided to us, then we can miss them. And we can end up putting ourselves in serious danger just because we're so unaware, because we're so caught up with the BS in our own heads, and the system that gives us the BS to focus on. If you're walking around in fear, oh, you're so easy to be manipulated.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But and also, Louise, you've got to want to change, and you've got to want to change yourself to be who
Well, I
you.
suppose,
But some
fortunately,
people are scared, aren't they?
they are. But the people who are watching this now, well, this has come to them for a reason, because there'll be some element of this conversation that resonates with them,
Yeah. One of us resonate.
right?
Yeah.
So there are people who are waking up, and you will know those who are trying to wake up, who are trying to source their growth, and the ones who aren't. You know immediately.
Yeah.
And the ones that aren't, I haven't got no time for. I
Yeah.
really haven't. You're on a different path, a different journey to where I want to go. I wish you all the best, but
We
I
send
don't
you love
really
and
want to say
abundance and prosperity, but you must leave.
it. Mm.
Yesterday, Joshy's got a little job in Sainsbury's in town,
Mm.
and they phoned him up yesterday, and I was driving. I went in there yesterday, and I'm very quiet when I walk into shops. Hello, everybody. And Josh is working and with this young girl. I can't feel what her name is. And the first time I spoke to her, she was talking. She was with Josh was with me, and I went, "Oh, hello, Josh's mum." I said, "So in future, when you see me, I want you to go, hello, mummy." And Josh is like, "You're
Did she?
frozen." And Josh is like, and then yesterday she said to Josh, "Your mum's brilliant." He said, "My mum's very loud." She said, "No, she's very good. She's loud, but I'm not loud as in like, argumentative.
Personality loud, not character loud.
Inner child loud.
Oh
I
yeah.
allow my inner child to express." And people go, you come in this shop, and like when I used to work for another bus company, they used to say to me, as soon as you walk into this office in this canteen, the whole of the energy just goes whoosh. She said, I can literally, I've only been here a week, and she was doing something for the company. She said, but as soon as you walk in, the whole energy is like whoosh. Because I'm like, and I talk to every single person in that room, and I say hello to every single one. No,
Yeah.
I don't just go hi. I go hello, blah 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 blah. You look good today.
Which makes you a rarity.
Yeah. And I say to people all the time, because I've got into a habit of it now. If I meet like with when we first got on today, you look lovely today.
Thank you.
Did you see how that makes you feel?
Of
So
course.
you felt like thank you very much, and then that's come straight back at me, and I feel exactly the same as what you do.
Well, even though we were
Because
talking earlier about selfishness, there is no such thing as a selfish deed.
there isn't. It's
You,
just the way they've made us portray it.
yeah, because if me on this journey has helped so many people, mostly more people than I will ever know. You know, being a nurse and being in people's homes, or being in IT. I mean, I can remember the one chap. This was when I was in ITU in London, and I had him for a run of days. And every time I went up to the bed, I introduced myself. I told him where he was. I told him that his family knew where he was. And I also told him he was safe. I then explained what I was now about to do. And I did this every single time I approached the bed. When he was woken up and he was in a different bed spot, he became mine. But this was like a week later. And I went, hello, my name's Louise. And he went, you've looked after me. And I went, I have. He went, I remember you. And I'm like, I reckon you would. You just heard me say rabbit the same thing. But he was asleep. He was on sedation. So, you know, It just goes to show that just because we think somebody isn't conscious doesn't mean that they're not aware.
Do you know what? I've done end of life before. And I worked in a care home for about 2 years when I was transitioning to different jobs. And this young lad he's about 19, and somebody died. And I said, "Do you want to come in with me? And I'll talk you through the whole process." And because you have to lay them out and wash them, don't you? And we came out. He said, "Why did you talk to her and she's dead?" I said, "Because she's still hovering in that room, and it's just my respects for her."
Mm.
And I said, "And that's the way I do it." He said, "I would never, ever forget what you've just done for me." He said, "You've just made that look so beautiful."
Yeah.
And I said, "And that's all what you can do. If you can do something for somebody and they remember that, then my job is done." It's like the other day, I got a letter sent to the office. Some customer sent a letter in, and I thought it was just a training day, so I chucked it in my bag. But when I read it, we had a wheelchair come on, and I made sure there was enough room for her because she's just had a baby, 3 months old, and she's going up to the hospital. So I made sure that there was enough room for everybody. Anyway, it was really nice to her. She had to get off, let the wheelchair off. And I just said some encouraging words to her. First time mum, late 20s. And when she got off, I said, "You know what?" I said, "You're going to be the most wonderful mum that anybody could wish for." So she sent a letter on. She said, "I just didn't wake up on this day." She said, "But I've made myself get out of bed." And she said, "And Wendy," because she asked my name, she said, "And Wendy is a credit to your company. They should be
Oh,
more like Wendy, and I thank you." And I was like, oh. So if you could do that to one person by being nice to one person, can you imagine if you can say hello to every single person, not every single person that you come into contact with, and do one nice comment,
yeah.
and how much that vibration will lift?
I've always tried to treat people the way that I want to be treated.
Yeah. Or
No.
if you talk to somebody in a negative attitude, you're talking to yourself. If I'm talking to you with love, Louise,
Yeah.
because I love who I am. And the only thing that I can do is send you love because
Of
you're
course.
sending it back to me.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Talk to people like you love them. You're
100%.
talking to yourself.
Love thy
Every
neighbor.
word, every word that comes out of your mouth, it's reflecting back at you. So if I'm talking love, that's what I want for me.
Well, it's like when you point forward, right? So when you're talking to somebody and you're pointing, you're sending it threefold back.
Yeah,
Threefold back,
yeah,
right? So I love you is 3 times back. I you is three. If it's negative, it's 3 times back.
yeah.
You
Do you
know,
know what
karma. You know, that whole
she's frozen
karma.
again?
If
You
you're
went,
projecting it out and you're pointing that out to give that force.
oh, I love these conversations, Louise. But we're going to wrap it
Yeah.
up, Louise.
Yeah. Well, it's been an hour.
It's been an hour, so I'm going to finish it. I'm going to upload it, make sure it's saved this time, and we'll do another recording, and then we'll put another one out as well. But I'm going to stop the recording. So goodbye from me.
Goodbye. See you all again
You're freezing.
soon.